Hello, Inedigabitti, this is Nocturne Gallery. You can learn something new about art in this video, or if you just want to enjoy the paintings and music, switch the audio track to Esperanto. There you'll hear only the music and see the artworks. Relax and enjoy art your way.
Welcome back. Today we're looking at someone who didn't just switch jobs, he basically torched his entire career for art. Paul Gauguin.
It's such a striking story, isn't it? Because he wasn't, some struggling artist from the start. He was a highly successful French stockbroker.
Right, making serious money. What was it, 30,000 francs a year by 35? That's huge.
Astronomical, yeah. And he deliberately, consciously, just dismantled that entire life, threw it all away to become, as he put it, a savage.
That's the paradox we want to explore. He's this kind of ultimate escape artist, trying to get away from Paris, from what he saw as the rotten forces of modern progress.
He felt it was toxic. His goal wasn't just about painting pretty pictures. It was about finding a more, essential way to live, a primitive existence.
And it wasn't just a whim, was it? He was an intellectual, quite complex, often seemed quite tortured, actually.
Definitely. And his art really became this protest against his own time, exploring cultural lines, sexuality, that search for something primal that he felt industrial Europe had lost.
So where did this restlessness start? He was born in 1849, Paris, right in the middle of all that political upheaval.
And that rebellious streak, you could say, was in his blood. His grandmother, Flora Tristan, she was a famous socialist writer, pretty radical figure.
So that critique of society was kind of a family thing?
It seems so. But the really key thing, I think, was his childhood. He lived in Lima, in Peru, until he was about 7.
Ah, okay.
And that experience, that tropical world, it seems to have marked him for life. He never really felt at home in Europe after that, always chasing that memory, that sun.
So he comes back to France, settles down, becomes the successful stockbroker we mentioned, married Mette, the Pearl of Denmark, he called her. Kids, comfortable life, looked like success from the outside.
Completely. The perfect picture.
So what snapped? What made him walk away?
Well, it seems it was the very success itself, the predictability, the security. It felt empty to him.
The dull round of business.
Exactly. The breaking point, apparently, was when he just walked into his boss's office, Monsieur Bertin, and quit. Said something like, I'm a businessman by accident, I'm an artist by heart, can't wait any longer.
Wow. How did Bertin take that?
He was baffled, just couldn't understand it, called it preposterous. Why would a successful man with a family chuck it all away, give up 30,000 francs a year to paint in some, garret?
It shows you the mindset Gauguin was rejecting, right?
Yeah.
That stability Bertin valued was exactly what Gauguin felt was suffocating it.
Precisely. That security was a cage. He felt life where no day was different from another was intolerable. Art, for him, needed risk, maybe even danger.
But the reality of that choice, it was incredibly harsh, wasn't it? The financial crash was immediate.
Oh, absolutely brutal.
And
To survive, even just to pay debts, he had to sell off his prized art collection.
His Impressionist collection. The good stuff.
The very best. Cézanne, Manet, Renoir. The absolute forefront of the art world he was supposedly joining. He sold them all for, basically nothing. Just 5,000 francs.
Wow. Selling the establishment's art to fund his escape from the establishment, that's quite a statement.
Burning his bridges completely.
Yeah.
And the poverty that followed was severe. Crushing, really.
It got so bad he ended up back in Paris doing manual labor.
Yeah, pasting advertising posters.
Yeah.
For things like Chocolate Meunier or Nicholas Wines, earning just 5 francs a day.
5 francs a day from 30,000 francs a year. That's staggering.
It's an almost unbelievable fall. And there's this incredibly poignant story from that time.
About his son, Clovis.
Yes. Clovis was sick, and Gauguin was sleeping on the floor beside him, nursing him. He'd used that tiny wage to buy vegetable broth for the boy.
And telling him stories.
Telling him the story of Sinbad the Sailor. Trying to bring some magic into that grim reality. Imagine that. This highly educated former banker pasting ads, telling Arabian Nights tales on a cold floor.
It speaks volumes about, his determination, I guess, the price he was willing to pay. It wasn't just failure, it was a conscious choice.
Absolutely. The cost of freedom, as he saw it.
And it's this desperation that pushes him towards Van Gogh, right? The famous ill-fated collaboration in Arles.
Exactly. Gauguin probably saw it as just a temporary escape, a way to paint somewhere sunny. But Van Gogh, Vincent had invited him almost like a god.
He saw Gauguin as a leader.
Totally. He deferred to him completely, saw him as this Olympian figure. Gauguin tried to bring order, house rules, shared finances, systematic work.
Which sounds like the exact opposite of what Vincent needed.
Well, yes. Gauguin, the guy who fled routine, ironically tried to impose it.
Yeah.
And he quickly got fed up with Vincent's intense moods, his religious mania, as Gauguin rather coldly put it.
The clash was inevitable then.
Pretty much unavoidable. Yeah, Gauguin tried to be cool, intellectual, finding Vincent exhausting, and the tension just built and built until that terrible incident.
The razor incident?
Yes. Gauguin finds Van Gogh holding a raised razor after an argument. It terrified him.
Understandably.
He fled, ran out in a cold sweat, booked into a hotel, and just never went back to the Yellow House.
So much for artistic collaboration solving his problems.
If anything, it probably just strengthened his belief that he had to get away. Far away from Europe, its pressures, its madness, really.
He needed that tropical sun. He actually wrote that, didn't he? I feel I am myself only under a tropical sun.
You did. So the escape plan started getting serious. But here's an interesting contradiction.
What's that?
All the places he considered, Tonkin, Madagascar, Tobago, they were all French territories, French colonies.
Huh. So he wants to escape French civilization, but stays within the French Empire.
Exactly. He couldn't quite cut the cord entirely. And that kind of ambiguity led to the disaster in Panama.
Ah, yes, the Panama Canal Plan. He went there to work.
Yeah, he thought he could earn good money, 600 francs a month, digging ditches for the canal company. Save up, then retire to Tobago.
But it wasn't exactly an easy path to savings, was it?
It was hell. Brutal forced labor, intense heat, those huge dredging machines, gendarmes keeping order,
Yeah.
and yellow fever everywhere. Lethal.
Wasn't there a grim local saying about that?
Chillingly grim. There are no sick in Panama. There are only the dead. Gauguin realized pretty quickly this wasn't freedom, it was a death trap. He quit, sailed away, broke once more.
But then he landed in Martinique, and that was different.
Unexpectedly, yes. He was absolutely captivated by the raw nature there, the jungle, the unpaintable mad colors he talked about, but also the scary side snakes, poisonous insects, fantastic, but terrifying.
And this is where he starts encountering the local mindset more directly, the savage mind he was searching for.
I think so. He and his travel buddy, Laval, they came across these deep local beliefs, like the superstition about the through my fault crab.
What was that?
A belief that just touching this particular crab would kill you instantly.
Right. That really highlights the gap, doesn't it, between his European rational perspective and this world saturated with spirits and ancient fears.
He does. He was starting to learn a different language, a language of, well, primal terror almost.
Which, in a way, maybe prepared him for Tahiti. He finally gets there in 1891, expecting paradise on Earth.
Convinced he'd found Eden at last.
And disappointment strikes again.
Immediately. Papeete, the capital, was basically a little Polynesian Paris. Women in French dresses, a brass band playing the French national anthem. Civilization got there first.
So he had to escape again, even within Tahiti.
Pretty much. He tried using this letter from France, saying he was on an artistic mission, which gave him a bit of status for a while. But the French governor was suspicious, thought he might be a spy, wouldn't really help him.
So off to the remote interior.
Exactly. To find the remote savage isle he dreamt of. And he does set up this simpler life there. Takes a young local companion, a Vahine named Tahura.
And their life was pretty basic.
Very basic. Shared their hut with roaches, centipedes, pigs wandering in and out, just living very close to nature, or maybe in nature.
And Tahura introduced him to more local beliefs.
Crucially, yes. Especially the Tupafas. These Polynesian spirits, demons, specters of the dead, this deep-seated fear of the supernatural, the unseen world.
Which inspired one of his most famous paintings, right?
Spirit of the Dead watching, absolutely. That painting comes directly from Tahura's fear, from trying to understand that Polynesian terror of the night. He was finally tapping into that ancient mind he'd been seeking.
But his time there wasn't just about finding inspiration for paintings, was it? Later on, especially in the Marquesas, he became quite the activist.
He really did. That old revolutionary spirit, maybe inherited from his grandmother, came roaring back. He started actively fighting against the French colonial administration.
How did he do that?
Mostly through writing. He wrote scathing articles denouncing the corrupt local officials, the gendarmes, the priests, accusing them of exploiting the natives with unfair taxes and fines. He just couldn't ignore the injustice he saw.
Taking on the system directly? Did that work out well for him?
Not exactly. It wasn't just artistic rebellion now, it was political defiance. and the authorities came down hard. He was actually sentenced to 3 months in prison.
Prison. Did he serve it?
No, he died before he could, but he was also hit with a massive fine, 1,000 francs, which for him, perpetually broke, was devastating.
So the fight cost him dearly. Drained him financially and probably physically, too.
No doubt. He was already suffering badly from heart problems, terrible eczema. Yet in those last months, somehow, he found the energy for one final, massive artistic statement.
Huge canvas.
Yeah, 5 yards long. Worked on it in what was described as an insane frenzy. He saw it as his absolute masterpiece, his last hymn, he called it, pouring all his suffering, all his vision into it.
So when we look back at his legacy, it's not just about, colorful pictures of Tahiti, is it?
Not at all. It was a whole philosophy forged in opposition. He wanted an art world free of academic shackles. That's why he loved things like woodcuts.
Why woodcuts specifically?
He saw it as primitive, authentic, going back to the primitive times of printmaking, he said. It was deliberate rejection of smooth, modern techniques like lithography, a protest against that modern slickness.
It all comes back to that rejection of modernity, that search for something raw, something essential.
Always. And his final thoughts, apparently right before he died in 1903. They capture that perfectly.
What did he say?
He was talking about what he'd paint next. Not the typical suffering Christ, sad and lean. No, he wanted a Christ staggering under the cross, gritting his teeth, but smiling.
Smiling through the pain.
Yes. He said that pride, that ability to smile despite the suffering, that's what makes it divine. Resistance, not just acceptance.
He found divinity in defiance then, in enduring the absolute worst, and still finding pride.
Exactly. The savage pride he chased his whole life.
He threw away conventional success, endured incredible hardship, fought against systems he hated, all to find value not in rewards, but in that internal strength, that fierce resistance. So maybe that's the thought to leave you with. When you face your own difficulties, where do you look for strength? Is it in striving for external security, the things society values? Or is it in finding that internal, maybe even savage pride and just enduring and gritting your teeth and smiling despite it all?